It is Monday, September 25th, and it is 3:33 p.m. And I am now calling the Joint Budget and Finance Committee meeting and Committee of the Whole meeting to order. Council Abbott, have you had a chance to get the minutes from the last meeting?
I move approval.
Second, all in favor say aye. Aye. The minutes from the last meeting have passed. Next is consideration of the consent agenda. Council Abbott, do you have any items you'd like to place on consent?
I made a list. Okay, items for consent. 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 21, jump. 21, 23, 24, 25, and 30. So that means speakers. 4, 6, 18, 20, 22, 26, 27, 28, 29.
Did you say number 19 was on consent?
19, yes. I'm sorry, I wrote it down, but I checked last night, didn't write it down.
So for speakers, that's 4, 6.
18, 20, 22, 26, 27, 28, and 29. I have it right here.
So the items that were placed on consent, we'll start on page 2, items 5 and 7. Page 3, can we take item 8 off? I need to abstain from there. And just item 9 on page 3. On page 4, items 10 and 11. Page 5, items 12, 13, and 14. Page 6, items 15, 16, and 17. Page 7, item 19. Page 8, items 21 and 23. And page 9, items 24, 25. And then page 11, item number 30. There's a motion for approval.
Oh, I move approval.
Second, all in favor say aye. Aye. The consent agenda has passed. If your item is placed on consent, you may go and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Otherwise, first item is item number 4. And it's a joint funding agreement for water resources investigation with U.S. Geological Survey, U.S. Department of Interior. And, oh yes, sit down guys, because they can't hear you guys.
So we'll let you sit there and see when you close to the microphone.
And then just state your name, where you're from, and your address.
He works it.
You can just say Mr. Department, I don't.
Good afternoon. My name is Derikus Cooper, and I serve as the Stormwater Program Manager, PEP.
And I'm Kelly Dunn. I serve as Chief Civil Engineer for Watershed Management.
Okay, can you guys tell us a little bit about this agreement, what's going on with this agreement?
This is normally with this agreement, we do this every 2 years, but this is a 1-year contract, and this is for our gauging stations. Right now we have 8 gauging stations that we have a joint partnership with USGS, and we have other that's just stations that are included in this where we just collect flow data and precipitation. But this is where we get our information to do our calculations and run the data, how much water and everything we have going through our watersheds.
Councilor?
Oh, I wanted to know whether we're checking for chemicals and things that people dump in our water, or if we just are just watching it flow by.
Well, we do that as part of the regular program that we do is water quality. We check we have 20 locations that we check every 2 months, and we check many different parameters. These do check some parameters, like it keeps up with the temperature and other things. While conductivity, turbidity, keeps up with things like that. But with that included with our routine water quality checkups, we put all that data together.
Okay, so turbidity, that's how much silt is mixed in with the water?
Yeah,
Yes.
how turbid it is and the color.
Okay. Those were my questions. I just wanted to know about people dumping their water.
But that's why they have a very successful program of trying to keep up with that.
Yeah, and that's a
This is just part of the testing.
yeah. And that's the one important reason why we got them strategically placed now, is to kind of track those things. And like these are continuous data that we're receiving from these monitoring systems.
Yeah.
So we kind of try to use that information and like you put our detective skills together to kind of figure out when those patterns are happening and help us track down patterns of things with those systems. Without that, it'll be very hard to do without the continuous data collection.
And the flow data and the precipitation stations, that's what allows us to go back and see what type of storm we had when there was a flooding event, so that we can help determine what the infrastructure looks like, whether it can handle the design storms that's required to this date, whether we need to come up with some more information, or if we need to actually do a design project to try to get everything addressed.
So one other question. Do y'all, if there's a big influx of, say, mud in the water, it's high turbidity. So do y'all check around the area to see, what developers might be developing that are not properly screening the storm sewers and catching the runoff with those silt fences? Do y'all
That's exactly what we do. That's one of our first steps.
to go catch the
Mhm.
bad guys?
Yes,
Good. I feel much
Yep.
better.
and we get a lot of calls on that anyway, so sometimes we don't have to have this information to go look, so.
Yeah. You might have got one for me.
President Alexander, we're just on item number 4.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, I guess based off of, we've had some pretty bad storms the last couple of years. Have you guys seen any trends in the data based off of this, or what kind of infrastructure improvements we need to make? Or what have you seen? Have you seen anything significant the last year or two?
What did you think? Because I've only been back a year, but I can get
It's-
what I've seen.
Now, these stations have helped us a lot when it turns to helping us when it goes to what we're giving. Our flow leaving Birmingham has improved tremendously what we're giving to our downstream neighbors, and what our industries are doing and what is coming in from our regular stormwater runoff. And that number continues to improve. And that allows us to know that our education program and everything else that we're doing is causing improvement. Without this type of information, you might not have that data to actually stand behind and say, hey, we wouldn't know.
Is there anything different based off of it?
No, it's allowing us to keep better track of what's going on. We do have several hotspots that we do use this data to determine whether it was a design storm or if it was higher, because our design storm is a 25-year storm, where it used to be a 10-year storm. And we do get occasion where they come in, whether a 50-year storm or a 100-year storm. And that gets into the act of God, and you don't design for stuff like that. So we're able to monitor it better and see. We have several storms that have come through that have seemed like they were really large storms, and they were right at the threshold. They were just under the design storm. So that allows us to go back and start looking at whether it's infrastructure problems or if we need to upgrade infrastructure.
Okay, that's really actually super helpful, because we've always kind of wondered, what is the conclusion after we have a storm, or is anybody collecting the numbers? I guess, Chief, is there any way we can get an update? I guess those hot spots and how they're doing for the rest of the council.
Yeah, we should be able to find that. We're supposed to have.
Okay, not like tomorrow, but like,
Yeah, we're supposed to have a record of it. I just have to
Yeah.
make sure that it's
yeah,
the latest version, because we hadn't had any rain recently. So
thank God.
we get hit with the rain, because I do know the last incident was the recent flooding again under the railroad trestle that's on Messer, and there was no rain, and it took a little while for us to tell everybody, it wasn't a rain event, it was just because the pump was turned off. And it started backflowing back into that area.
Yeah, and we've been working on coming up with strategic plant projects of how to show everybody what's going on and keep everybody informed. So that's one of the things that we've been planning on rolling out for everybody to know, like after the storm, this is our official report, making visuals and things like that. So there's a bigger push to get that coming out faster. So good question.
You good? Okay.
I got one other.
Yes, that's it.
I said, where does all of our stormwater end up ultimately? Isn't it going to the Warrior River and on down to Mobile, or where does it all end up?
We have two. One is the Coosa, and the other is the Black Warrior, but it all ends up in Mobile in the bay.
Okay, so the main ones are Valley Creek, Village Creek.
Cahaba, 5 Mile, and Shades. Those are our 5 watersheds. And Shades and Valley and Village goes to the Black Warrior.
That's where all the basketballs.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah,
They do. I
Uh-huh.
mean, kids lose their basketballs in the sewer, and they all end up at my brother's place on the Warrior River. Anybody need a basketball? Okay, that was my only other question. Thank you.
Okay.
I move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That item passes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Next item is item number 6. This is a fund agreement between the city and its annual Food Plus Cultural Festival in the city from October 12th to the 15th. And the city will provide food plus culture in an amount not to exceed $20,000 to host the event in Birmingham.
Move the item.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Wesley, how you doing?
Good evening. Again, Cornell Wesley, serve as Director for the Office of Innovation and Economic Opportunity. Birmingham is a food capital and ready for a world-class annual food festival to showcase the must-visit culinary destination that we are. The idea of such an event has been around for some time, but the vision really began to gel when Birmingham hosted the International Association of Culinary Professionals Conference in 2021. That event marked the first time an international food group had hosting a meeting in our city. Attendees loved the Magic City's dynamic food scene, our chefs, culture, climate, and the event locations we have to offer for a culinary-focused event. So Food Plus Culture is the response to the positive energy generated by the IACP event. It's about food, but also something more. It's about culture. Why? Because Birmingham is a multi-dimensional city with food and flavors that grew from our diverse, dynamic culture. This allows us to truly tell our story and presents the opportunity for us to be more inclusive, to celebrate diversity, and inform how food and culture are intertwined in the Magic City. Notably, last Tuesday, this group was before the council body to brief you about this event. From a long-term goal perspective, this is the precursor of what will be Food in Alabama next year. So while its launch pad is in Birmingham, it will service the entire state the following year. What are we chasing? If successful, we're chasing Charleston, South Carolina's Food and Wine Week. From a point of reference, that is a $35 million impact every time it's held. And we feel that Birmingham has something to offer. So, any questions?
Okay, President Alexander.
Thank you. Very excited to see this come. I do have a couple of questions. I know you said that 2021 was more of like a convention.
That's correct.
And so any ideas of, or any thoughts of what the revenue generation may be from this? Have you got any ideas on what you'd like to see as an economic downturn from this?
Well, I think a good weekend wouldn't be $1 million because we're trying to introduce the concept to the city. And so if we come in the couple 100,000 range, and again, we have the support of the state. So we're talking about immediate impact within the city limits of a couple 100,000. So I think with a 20,000 investment, we'll get that tenfold.
And you said the state is helping us. How about Greater Convention Bureau? Are they
So it-
part of this at all? 'Cause I
yes,
know they
ma'am.
want it to be a food destination.
That's correct. So this will be an all-hands-on-deck conference. Again, somewhat they're viewing this somewhat as the proof of concept because Birmingham has the highest concentration of Beard Award winners in the state. So it makes sense that it be housed here. But full stop next year, they're looking at rolling this out to the entire state. So the support and the robust financial support even from the state is in hand as well.
Last question.
Yes, ma'am.
We have the culinary arts students over at Winona High School.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any components of this for educational or any support for our students to get to see something like this or be a part of this?
Well, uniquely, I think it will be, if approved via council, there are some accoutrements, if you will, that come along with that investment, that the council, to their own prerogative to participate and/or ensure students have representation. Now, is there a formal program around the students? There is not. But I do see that as an opportunity moving forward.
I know Ms. Pilgrim over there, would probably be very happy just to see her students, just to know about this company and the
Yes, ma'am.
opportunities that they have. Thank you.
Councilor Evans.
Yeah, who is Food and Cultural Festival? I mean, who is, I know you're not running it yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Who's in charge?
Kathy Sloss is the most familiar name, and that's who I'm pretty certain presented to the body on last Tuesday. You know, the verdict's still out, but I hope I have faith that she can.
She's a friend. And
She's
she
an amazing
started-
piece.
She may not be anymore, but she started Pepper Place, and to me, that's one of the greatest things.
It is.
Birmingham has going, is just
Absolutely.
that whole, that, you know, not only the food, but you can get so much other cool stuff there. Okay. You already made a motion.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I don't have any questions. There's a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That item passes. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Next item is item number 8, and this is an ordinance to amend the donation fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024 by appropriating $15,000 in Harrison Park. And the funding source is Jefferson County Community Service Fund.
I'm gonna approve.
Second.
I just need abstain. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then one abstention. Okay, thank you. Next item is item number 18, which is, this is authorizing the mayor to expend funds in an amount not to exceed $2,000 for the purpose of purchasing weed and pest repellent for neighborhood association cleanup day.
I'm gonna approve.
Second.
I do have questions.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Council, Mayor's Office. Thomas Stone, Principal Accountant, Community Development, Community Resources.
Okay, Councilor Evans.
Yeah, my question was, I have never heard of weed repellent. I know pest repellents like off and cutter and things like that, but what is weed repellent?
Well, they will probably use a vendor like Site One for horticultural supplies. That's what they generally use, like weed repellent, just to cut down the brush in the neighborhood for cleanup day. That's what the request is.
You mean weed killer?
Weed killer, yes,
Oh, okay,
yes,
well,
ma'am.
I was
Yes,
trying
ma'am.
to figure out what a
Yes.
weed repellent
Weed
was,
killer.
because I definitely need some at my house. But there's no such thing as weed repellent.
It's weed
But
killer.
it's
Weed
weed
killer.
killer, so they will have professionals putting the weed killer and the pest control out. These won't be residents of the neighborhood doing this.
No, ma'am, no, ma'am. They will obtain a vendor to get these supplies. And
The vendor's putting the supplies out though.
the vendor will be putting the supplies out. I'll have to follow up with the CRR on
Yeah,
that.
because I think that there are legal requirements. I know we have pesticides and herbicides that the city uses, and you have to be trained and you have to know what you're doing.
Yes, ma'am.
Or you can kill things
Yeah.
that you didn't intend to kill.
I'm pretty sure they're working with DPW on that repellent and killing side of the weeds and not just allowing normal citizens to put it out.
No, good, because I was concerned about that. You know, people just go wild sometimes.
We'll follow the CRR and Public Works.
We don't want any fish kills,
No.
especially since it's going to the warrior and the
Blackboard.
Kusa. Well, those are my questions, so we just have to know that there's no such thing as a weed repellent.
We repel it. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you're correct.
President
Does
Alexander.
anybody read these things before they come to us? I mean, really?
President Alexander.
Yes, this is the first time I've seen us do this. Is this something that maybe just to my knowledge. But is it something that we're encouraging our neighborhoods to do? Because we have numerous cleanups, and I didn't know if it has to be a particular type cleanup to include this portion of it. Because typically on cleanup days, we're picking up litter and trash. So is this something that's being promoted to the neighborhoods?
Yes, ma'am, it is. Oftentimes, they will make the transfer to the department, to DPW, and they'll transfer the funds to DPW to have that department allocate the weed repellent or weed killer and the pest repellent. But in this case, they're going to go straight to the vendor and have the vendor to supply them.
Okay. So the neighborhood feel like
Yeah,
Project Chief and put that out?
it's whatever a neighborhood wants to do when it comes to
Okay.
neighborhood cleanups.
Okay.
If they want to dive that deep into it, and if it's allowable by our standards and OCA, will gladly do it.
Okay, great. And this is just a little piggyback on that. With the Tools USA, the new process we have that we did the ARPA dollars, has that been worked out with how the neighborhoods would secure?
I'm not sure, I don't want to put
this.
Mr. Hash on.
And I don't want to put him on the spot, but I just want to be part of the.
It probably will be more than likely, but I don't want to, commit
Correct.
anything, but we'll follow up.
Because I just like to see for this and something like this and that,
Yeah.
how the district, the council office can help to promote this when we go out to the neighborhood meetings and then plan those cleanups.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Council Abbott, do you have more questions?
No, I was just worried about who's gonna apply those chemicals. So since we've been guaranteed that it's professionals, I'm happy.
Okay, I think there's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That item passes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next item is item number 20, and this is for the Ticketmaster Birmingham Bowl, Ticket Smarter Bowl
Yes,
football game.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So what's before the council is our yearly agreement with ESPN, ESPN Production Company to host the Birmingham Bowl at Protective Stadium for this upcoming year. I think it's scheduled for the last Sunday in the month of December. I think it is, because we usually get an email every week from them just giving us updates on the potential of what schools can, be eligible to come and play. Usually this year will be the same thing. It'll be an SEC team versus an American Conference team. Based off of those schools get over 6 wins, that kind of curtails and says what team will come and play in our facility. So this is just our yearly allocation of support for the Birmingham Bowl. This, I think, is our 10th year. This should be year number 3 at Protective Stadium. So we want to keep the tradition going and having that visibility and promotion of our city on the Birmingham Bowl that is always promoted on ESPN Network and all the affiliate stations.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Council Abbott.
Yeah, do we, in our contract with the Birmingham Bowl, is everything, all the events, are they all required to be performed in the city of Birmingham? Or do they get to go and have them in Hoover or Mountain Brook?
Well, that I cannot speak on, because that's an ESPN question. I'm pretty sure, yes, they have different hosting of the teams, because I think one year one team stayed in Hoover. And we tried to tell them to promote our city by staying within our city limits. So I think it's just a mechanism that ESPN has when they have the different teams come in and they host it at different places outside the Birmingham area. But we do try to promote our venues as much as possible, including they usually go to the Civil Rights Institute every year when the teams come in the day before, and like we do our best to say, hey, ESPN, we know that you're using our facility. Okay.
Not really. So the deal is, the council members were invited to an event at Aldridge Gardens in Hoover. And I thought it was the Birmingham Bowl, and I thought that we had requirements that if we're going to put hundreds of thousands of dollars into an event, that the event is held in like the Haven.
That is duly noted, Council. I will make sure to relay those sentiments to the leadership of ESPN Productions.
Well, if Hoover's contributing a few $100,000, they can have it, but I don't think they probably are contributing anything. I imagine the city of Birmingham is the only one that's contributing any money.
Yeah, I can only speak for our portion of it. So, like I said, I'll make sure that the leadership at ESPN knows your concerns, and hopefully they have a better response than I'm giving you.
thought we had that in our contract. I thought the office of the city attorney made sure that when we were putting money in, they weren't going to Mountain Brook to have their event or Hoover.
I think our contract mostly speaks on the game actually being at Protective Stadium and not any other venue. Duly noted.
I'm not happy with the answer, but I'm going to accept it because I don't have any choice.
I don't know if it's on the agenda tomorrow. Yeah, like I said, I will talk to the leadership and make sure that that's noted, and it should be more Birmingham centric, yes.
We have lots of venues.
Yes, ma'am.
President Alexander.
Yes, I really want to piggyback on that sentiment of Ms. Zabit. I'd also like to see some educational components for our students as far as them getting to see what the world of a bowl game is about, especially since the name is the Birmingham Bowl. And I don't know, maybe this is the first time we received that type of invite that we did, but it did open up that thought of how much of this is Birmingham and how much of it isn't. Because I know in the past, we sort of haven't been a part of anything other than maybe the first fact the team comes in and they have their inaugural activities, and after that, it's pretty much so. I guess I would like some type of reporting back of what this $250,000 entails. And then I would like to have the answer. I think that all council members would like to see the answer of more of what those activities are within the city of Birmingham.
Something similar to what the USFA was doing, the media internships, and it just would be nice.
I hear you loud and clear. I can only just relate it.
No stress.
No stress. Just one game. Gotcha.
And how many years is this? Is this year to year or?
Yes, it's always year to year, just
Okay.
based off because, we
It's
try to
been
hold
10 years.
we try to hold them to giving quality schools, but that also depends on if they get 6 wins to be bowl eligible.
I know that, what is it, SEC and the AAC? Is it
Yeah,
ACC?
American Conference, yes.
Well, they had 2 in North Carolina.
Right.
Carolina Coastal or Carolina.
And that was the issue was that it was just the eligibility of the SEC team and American team. They just didn't have enough people that was qualified to be bowl eligible.
Okay.
All right, Councilor Abbott, do you have more questions?
No, that was all.
President Alexander?
I'm good.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 20 passes. Next item is item number 22. And this is the mayor's office receiving a grant from the Alabama Department of Environmental Management, ADEM Recycling Fund, for $752,931.22.
Council, so basically we applied for this grant and we were we selected and were able to receive almost $800,000 from the Alabama Recycling Fund. It is a $13 million recycling grant, and the funds that we have will go towards the purchase of a roll-off truck, recycling carts, and implement education and outreach training for recycling needs.
How many recycling carts?
Well, we don't know yet until, we had to make sure we got the money first, and then we'll put it out for bid and purchase the carts.
President Alexander?
Is this part, I'm very excited that we won the grant. Was this rolled into our thoughts of the turn on the recycling program?
Yes.
And so this is one of the pieces of it?
Yes, so this helps to leverage more grant funding outside our general fund to have a more robust recycling program. I know that Mr. Gates has told the council that we're looking into a more opt-in, opt-out mechanism. This just helps support funding before we can start implementing that actual type of program.
I'm glad you said opt-in, because my next question was still going to be an opt-in and opt-out. All households won't just get them.
Correct.
And we always answer like this, but please tell me there's some type of educational component
Yeah.
that's going to go along with
So-
this to encourage recycling.
Yeah, so within the budget, it's around $5,000 just for education and outreach training. So that those funds will help DPW go out and tell the benefits of recycling, why you should recycle, the importance of recycling, things of that nature.
And we've already looked at this.
Oh, yeah.
The bins are not as large as the
No, they're
household.
small.
Yeah, Council Abbott.
Okay, so with this money, which we have already gotten,
Once the council approves it, yes.
so we're gonna buy a roll-off,
Two roll-off trucks.
two roll-off trucks.
Yeah, well, they're the one-arm banded type of trucks, yes.
Okay. So this is the one that's gonna come pick the stuff up.
Mhm.
Okay, and then we're gonna get parts, but we don't know how many. And then
So
we're gonna have,
the itemized budget, and it should, I know, I'm sorry it wasn't in your package, but I'll be glad to forward this. So around $168,000 will be used for recycling carts. The trucks are around $577,000. That's for two. And then the rest are just the training and the RFID tags that we use on our current carts.
okay, RFID tags.
Yeah, those are the ones that when we know when we picked up somebody's actual garbage or recycling, it's a mechanism that is in our, I can't remember the name of the system that we use, but it helps track to make sure that we actually pick somebody's garbage up. If they set it out, and we can say, well, you didn't really set it out because our system didn't say that we picked it up because it wasn't out.
Okay, so it's the same thing that
Yes.
Josh Yates
Yes.
told us about, that they'll actually be able to go back and look at the video and
Yes.
say, there wasn't a garbage can
That's correct.
there. Oh,
That's
excuse me, a cart.
A cart.
There was not a cart there this morning, and then they will say, oh, well, I guess I didn't put it out till 10:30.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it. Okay. good.
Routeware. It's hidden.
Route.
Have we looked into putting some of these carts into our schools?
I think the school board has their own recycling program, but I can't speak for them.
They do?
They
I-
did in the
yes,
past, they did.
I would yield to.
And they used to have, what was that? Some type of competition between schools to see who could get the most items or, you know, who had the best use of it. But this, I'm talking 10 years ago, so.
Must have missed a different school board. Okay. And what about the trucks? Do you know when we'll probably get them?
Not really, because we were waiting on this grant to come in, and then once we accept the funds, I'll work with equipment management to give you a timeline on the trucks.
Okay.
Hopefully, we don't have a supply chain issue like that.
All right. Are you good? Okay. But was there a motion second?
Move the item.
All in favor say aye. Aye. The item passes. Thank you, Chief. Item number 26.
So, Griffin.
Hi, great, how are you?
Can you tell us about this item?
Sure. I'm Griffin Lassiter, Senior Project Manager in IEO. Acclinate Genetics is a Birmingham company, I believe you're located on First Avenue South.
Yes.
And they're a proven provider in the healthcare industry, of a valued service in the healthcare industry that you're getting ready to hear about. They'll expand with 25 new employees over the next 3 years at an average entry salary of $55,000. Acclinate works to achieve diversity in clinical trials related to diabetes and other diseases most prevalent among minorities. It also assists pharmaceutical companies and healthcare organizations and access and engage communities of color by making research more inclusive. It provides a great service. I'm here with Rosemary Robinson. She's Director of Operations. And Rosemary, tell them a little bit more, or keep them from being confused like I just did.
Okay, all right. Well, you did a great job. Welcome, thank you for having me here this afternoon. I am Head of Operations for Acclinate, and as you stated, we are a minority healthcare company. We're located right now out in Denham Park. We just signed a new 3-year lease. We've had the longest running commercial lease there, they told us. This is our second 3rd-year lease. Our goal is to increase the employment by 25 more employees in the Alabama area in the next 3 years. We currently have 10 full-time people in the office. I was the first full-time hire in 2020, and yesterday morning I got an offer for a 32nd full-time person for the company. So we're very excited about the growth. We're making great strides in healthcare for minorities and other communities of color. UAB is one of our larger partners, and we decided to stay here in the Birmingham area because of the ecosystem here, the work we can do here to maintain quality health care for all people. We was looking at Atlanta, and we made the decision to stay here, sign the new lease, and here we are. Yes.
Councilor
Yay. The traffic's a lot worse. You wouldn't want to
We
go.
would want to go there.
Well, you're the first person I've met that's in the Denham Park
Oh,
complex,
great.
but it looks cool.
Mhm.
Do y'all have anything to do with the All of Us program that
UAB, we just got a call on Friday that they got the new grant, and we're on as one of their partners. Yes.
Well, good.
Yes, we are.
Well, I'm participating in that, but I'm fascinated by the information that they send out to normal people
People.
who, you know, don't really know 100% what they got into, but it is very interesting, and it goes hand in glove with what
What
you're
we're doing.
doing. So
Mhm.
that's why I asked the
Yeah.
question, but I think this is exciting. And it's nice to know y'all exist, because I
Yeah.
didn't know before.
Really, yes. So we got some national attention now. Dale Smith is currently right now in San Francisco attending a D-Farm conference. Tiffany Whitlow, other co-founders in Newark, New Jersey, with the INSMED. So we're really getting national attention, and we all started right here through Huntsville and Birmingham. So it's exciting. We have 4 of the top 10 pharma companies as our partners now. We have Eli Lilly, we have Janssen, Merck, and AstraZeneca. So it's a lot of growth.
President Alexander.
Very good. Very excited for the work that you are doing. I'm so glad that you brought this to the city of Birmingham. Due diligence, I used to work for a pharmaceutical company,
Okay.
so I know the importance of this type of work. I did want to ask about the type of employees or positions that you have. I know that you're trying to recruit minorities into being part of research.
Yes.
Clinical research programs, because we don't tend to want to do that based
No.
on the history that we have with that. Question, so the type of employees that you employ, are they doing the clinical trial studies, or what are they involved in?
So there would,
What would be their background?
our biggest need is going to be project managers overseeing the various projects that we get through J&J, that we get through AstraZeneca, through a UAB. It's actually the day-to-day logistics of getting that project from cradle to grave. So that'll be the job. So most of our project managers, we also would need in some admin support and some engineering support for the tech side. We are a biotech company.
Great. And this seems to be just a little bit different in RISE. The way this is this the same as all of our other programs? Do you have to get the employees over a period of time, and then you get the payout, or how does that work for our assistants?
Alan Foster wrote the agreement. Alan's here from OCA. And I'm gonna let him answer that question.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I think this one's a little bit different.
We usually always, I mean, I guarantee, we guarantee the employees and everything that's in there before we pay. But, I can't say, I think we've done that every time. We've
Yeah.
never had an agreement. Yeah, I just want to be sure.
I was just thinking, to me, in the past, it have been.
Yeah, it's part of the RISE funding that the city council approved for IEO. Once we sell property, that money goes towards to help small business. And I think per a certain amount of dollars, they have to have FTE added on.
Yeah. What is the question
And
again?
I'm
sorry.
I wasn't sure if the payout is at the beginning, or does it grow, or is it allocated as these new hires are brought on? Or do they have to stay a certain period of time?
The way that we established this agreement is that the payoff will be made up front, especially for the 30,000, and the clawback on it would be if they don't really pretty much maintain open is what we're kind of gauging it on at this point. We will hoping and expecting the employment to take place over the next 3 years, but it's more so hinged on at least if they're gonna still be open during that time period as well. Yeah.
Service to the community.
We always have
thank you.
clawbacks. We
Yeah,
would have-
we wouldn't do that.
I see what you mean.
Okay, thank you, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Council Abbott, do you have any more questions?
Okay, just to make sure I understood what you said, they actually have to hire somebody before we pay them.
No, we're giving them the money and with the anticipation of over the next 3 years of them growth, of the growth coming in. So that there's gonna be an investment by the city with the anticipation of the growth over the next 3 years.
Okay, have we ever done that before?
I think we kinda did this one with, one of the last ones that you did as well.
It was the Soku,
Soku.
and
Oh,
then
the restaurant.
the restaurant.
Mhm.
And then it was another one. That's why I say it's part of that RISE initiative. that
Right.
The money goes towards them to be able to hire individuals in the Birmingham to work.
Right.
So it's not like an incentive one, like you've seen in the past where it's based off of occupational tax rebates. This is more geared towards small businesses.
So they can go out and get.
So that they can do
Yeah.
it, so that they can perform. But there's not really monitoring of it. If you don't hire the people, we're gonna come back after the money. The anticipation is then, yes, to hire, but the city wants to see that this company is still progressing, and developing.
Well,
That's,
if they don't
they're sold
hire
into them.
anybody, they probably won't
They-
progress.
That's
Yeah,
right. We
so
need
it's an
people.
investment.
Yeah, people are hard to come by. Okay, thank you for
Sure.
answering that.
So what happens, and I don't think this will happen to them, if the business shuts down or closes?
Well, this is the investment of the economic impacts that we make. These are opportunities that we're hoping that they are going to be successful. We see the potential in it, and we're going to invest in it. But I guess as every one of them that we have with 772, there's never a guarantee of what the outcome will be. But we do have the authority to invest for this purpose.
Okay, so if they close down, then we just kind of lose the money?
Well, we put a clawback in that, yeah, they're supposed to pay us back, but if they don't have any money, that would be a concern. But
So with the restaurants, we get the furniture back, we get the stove.
right. So I do think that you have fixtures that you're invested in with that one, but in this particular case, there is a clawback for them to pay the city back.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Move that.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Item number 26 passes. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Next item is item number 27, and this is a supplemental funding agreement with the PACE Board,
Yes.
under which the city will provide funding in the amount of $2 million for them to make capital improvements to Brookwood Field.
Yes, Counselor. So basically, I know we kind of seems like we talk about it almost every week now, but the funding that was approved from the surplus, $2 million that would go towards the payment for the bond issuance for the region Brookwood Field project. We're basically just moving our money from the general fund into the custodial account under PACE for them to make payments.
Madam President?
Yeah, because that was gonna be my question. This isn't additional money, this is the money we've already.
To make
approved.
payments.
It's just moving the money to make those payments. Okay, that was my question.
Council Evans?
Yeah, and my only, well, I think my only question, another one might grow. Who is actually contracting with
The contract, the pay.
people to do the work over there? Who's doing the design work and the engineering work at Brookwood?
So PACE has contracted with BAM, B-A-A-M. They are a unit that MLB uses for their MLB standards. But to your point in your question, Counselor, our staff is working hand in hand with all the contract work with BAM and MLB for permitting and everything else related to the field work.
Okay, our people.
PEP, mostly PEP and capital projects. We have
So-
people assigned to that actual project.
Okay, so do we have that project management firm yet that's supposed to be managing our capital projects that they actually have done? Remember we were gonna
Yeah,
hire somebody?
so it just depends because I think when we created the Department of Capital Projects was to alleviate having to do more things that's outsourced. But she is, and I say she, Director Bell, has a plan of the professional service when the capacity issues arise. And then we go out and find project managers or designers for different projects that we cannot do in-house based on just capacity issues. It just depends on the project. I don't think she wants to hire a PM for every project because we have the resources within the Department of Capital Projects.
Okay, but we have a whole lot of projects that aren't really moving, you know, like they're just, I mean, every.
So I wouldn't say they're not moving.
Well, they're just moving as slow as molasses rolling uphill on a cold winter day.
I would just say that a lot of the things, and to your point, we have had a lot of projects from ARPA, from capital, from surplus, and everything else in between. Design phase of anything takes the longest before you get into any type of construction part of moving dirt or, you know, adding bricks. It's design work takes the longest. And I think that's something that we should do a better job of informing the council how that process works.
But sometimes design work is taking 3 years. Now, no professional designer really takes 3 years to do a
It
design
depends.
job.
Now, for our baby in Lake, what's the park? Caldwell, Lake Caldwell?
Yeah, Lake Caldwell.
That took a year of design work.
Well, I have faith at least something's happening there, but there are a lot of, you know, with all these ARPA projects that everybody's got, you know, like, I don't have a lot of projects because all my money went to Lake Caldwell, but, you know, mine are all capital. And if everybody else's were all capital, we would need somebody to manage them because you have to spend the money by the end of
25.
25,
Yeah,
6,
six.
5. Anyway, so we can't fool around. We don't have time, no matter who wants to. We need to get moving
They're moving.
with a sense of urgency to
With the
make
sense-
sure we spend the money because we have to
They-
give it back
they are
if we
definitely-
don't spend
They
it.
are definitely moving, and we'll do a better job informing the council on. I know we put a lot of the things in the capital monthly report, but I think it's something that we need to like sit down and tell you how they're moving, in the speed in which we're moving with them.
Lake Caldwell would be a good one to start with. They put up the boats, but, you know, just another storm could come in. Thank you.
President
I would like to
Alexander.
ask that, you do a great job, appreciate
Mhm.
the capital projects report that we get on a monthly basis. Came in very handy to me at the neighborhood meeting. They were questioning the progress of the Oxmoor Valley Direct Center Department Space there, so I was able to put out my book and show them what we had. But I would like to see how we're gonna report and manage capital projects that come under ARPA and how that can be, the transparency of that for each counselor. And so is that something that you could incorporate in that type of reporting where we get a monthly report?
So, me and Chris can tag team this actually, because we meet, we have a weekly cadence just talking about all ARPA related things in capital. So I think we're just trying to develop it and make sure that we give you factual information.
If you would, because in some cases, say for instance, 3 of my ARPA projects are based on Park and Rec in 3 parks. And so there's constant calls back and forth with Director Evans and some of the neighborhoods, and then
And that's a great example because I want to at least let this committee know, a lot of the times when we get a project and it's already scoped, if we change it one bit, we have to start all over again.
Do you think we can save this maybe for old and new business? So we can just.
Yeah,
ask one
I think
question again?
it's what he has said is going to be really
Okay.
good.
Okay, and you're absolutely right. There needs to be a little better transparency as far as how we're advancing ARPA projects, and we are working on that as we speak. One of the biggest issues that we've had is that we have not had a repository or grant management tool for ARPA, and capital projects is also working on their project management tool. So we've been having to do spreadsheets, this, that, and before. So we've been working diligently with our consultants, with their consultants, just to coordinate a workflow, and that reporting mechanism is going to be a part of that workflow. So we'll be able to once these repositories are finalized, hopefully in the next month or two, we'll be able to query and pull data as far as what project updates according to council districts or whatever type of query we want to make. So, projects are moving forward. They really are. It's just that we're behind on our communications because we haven't had the infrastructure in place to properly communicate with council.
And
I
so,
know we're going down a rabbit hole.
well, I'm still in the subject, so I have another question. As far as this project is concerned, is this gonna be reported to us like a capital improvement project?
I mean, we can, absolutely, because it's on a tight schedule, so yes, we could.
Given the impact of this and the money that we're spending, I would like to see some reporting that's incorporated into that as possible. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Those some great points, Madam President. Okay, Council Evans.
I'm good. We already moved this.
No, ma'am,
I move
the item.
approval.
Second.
I mean, because the elaboration is really not part of liquid field things, the elaboration that we were elaborating.
I wasn't elaborating. Let me clear
I'm
this up.
sorry.
Yeah. My elaboration was about capital projects and how this is being presented to us as money being moved for capital improvements of Rickwood Field. So my question is centered around capital improvements and how that's reported. But we're ready for the vote. You okay?
Yes, ma'am. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The item passes. Next item is item number 28, and this is an agreement with the Friends of Rickwood Field, under which FORF in celebration of Rickwood Field 113th anniversary, and this is the Rickwood Home Run Derby. And this, the city will provide incentives to FORF not to exceed $15,000 and other in-kind related services.
Move down. Second.
Yes, council, this is just a supporting document just to support a yearly home run derby. This will be one of the last events before the actual Rickwood Field construction starts. So the Friends actually use this event as one of their big fundraisers, and we just want to support them and help them out. The home run derby consists of former MLB baseball players and 2 students from Miles College that will be actual participants. They do a lot of community outreach for the home run derby, including just having the kids out there getting the balls, the flying. I don't know. I'm not a baseball guy. I'm basketball. So they'll be actually participating in the home run derby part of the situation. So we just want to support it with a financial contribution to help them as they do their yearly fundraising.
Okay. Council Evans.
I don't have any questions.
President Alexander.
And so tell me again, you said 4 Major League Baseball.
Former MLB players,
And
yes.
who's the other?
2 Miles College participants that'll be in the actual derby.
Okay, all right, thanks, that's all. Just missed it. Thank you. Other questions?
When is the event?
Hmm?
When is the event?
October 13th, 2024. I mean 23. 23.
Oh, okay. If there are any other questions, is there a motion and second?
I move approval.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. That item passes. Next item is item number 29. And this is a heroism ceremony at the Harvard Center on October 12th to recognize UPD sworn and civilian personnel.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Lieutenant Malden with Birmingham Police Department, serve as the executive assistant to the assistant chief. So on October the 12th, our goal is to host a heroism and valor ceremony to recognize officers, professional staff, volunteers, and community members for their acts of valor in 2021 and 2022. We want to publicly show our gratitude to the officers and community members that went far and beyond the call of duty to protect the community.
Okay. Thank you, Madam President.
Yes, thank you. Can you tell me just a little bit about what this ceremony will look like? This is you're bringing in, you recognizing officers for the past 2 years, their heroism or their service over the past 2 years. So it's just like handing out awards and.
Yes, it will be awards based, so we're recognizing those officers that showed basically great work products in 2021, 2022,
And it'll be at the Harbor Center where it'll be sit down, a dinner, as well as various awards, anywhere from individual awards to meritorious awards pertaining to various units and precincts.
And is this something that we're doing internal, or are this community members? They are recognizing people, this is all internal?
Yes, it is internal with the Birmingham Police Department, but we are recognizing community members as well that may have assisted these officers on some of those traumatic incidents.
Councilor Evans?
The only thing that had me a little bit confused, and I think I still am, is the first sentence in this description. It says amounts of less than $30,000 each, but the total is $62,000. So what does that mean? Execute contracts to obligate the city to amounts less than $30,000 each. Is this not just one of them?
I have to refer to Attorney
Now
Sheffield.
that I'm not sure, unless, because it has two different funding sources.
Yeah, it's Keith Sheffield, serving the office of city attorney. Is the $30,000 is the new bid threshold for purchase of goods and services? There'll be multiple vendors, and so in order, it's not too there since there's so many vendors. No amount will exceed $30,000 with each vendor, but collectively, the total amount will be $62,000.
Okay, now I understand. It just didn't gel
Yeah.
for me. But now it has gel.
Okay, do you guys have any more questions? You're good?
I'm gonna go approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, no, swing, none passes.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't think we have any old and new business, so the next Budget and Finance Committee meeting will meet on Monday, October 9th at 3:30 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye.